start of my presentation on epidemiology from Chapter 3, The Study of Disease, Injury, and Death in the Community by Paul Sammons. So the book's definition of epidemiology is the study of the distribution and determinants of health-related states or events in a specified populations and the application of this study to control health problems, and that's found on page 59 of the book. But a more simpler term that I made just to better help understand it is that it's just a branch of medicine designed to help the control of diseases. And epidemiology is really concentrated into these three definitions of endemic, epidemic, and pandemic, which I'll now go into more. So an endemic is a disease that happens regularly in a specified population. So a little different than what this picture seems to show is that it doesn't necessarily have to be global, but it's more reoccurring things that happen in the specified population. So an example of that is chickenpox in young children in America. So it's very common for children to get chickenpox at a young age, so people always make sure to get their chickenpox vaccine just for their kids at any time, just because it's something that happens regularly and it's not necessarily something that happens throughout the world, or and it's not something that happens in a continuous manner for all ages. Next is an epidemic, which is a spread of a disease in a given population. So once again, this isn't something global, but it is something that is designed to these specific ones. It can be in different areas. An example that helps explain this is the Zika virus, which happens actually mostly in Africa. So if these dots weren't here, but were more in like North Africa, it happens due to mosquitoes in that area that present a problem to those populations. And then lastly is a pandemic, which is finally a global outbreak of a disease. So an example of this would be like smallpox that happened throughout the entire world. And so here's kind of a full showing of all of them to better understand the different examples. And so for the test question I felt would be fitting is, what is an example of a pandemic? And I'll give you a second to answer. And it is, that's right, the COVID-19 coronavirus that's going on right now, as it is worldwide, and it is not in a specified population, although it could have been considered an epidemic when it started out in China, and it never really would have been considered an endemic, but it is a pandemic. And that is my closing of my presentation. Thanks. Bye.